Hi everyone, welcome to the Teal Podcast. You're here with me, Karen Pollard, and my co-host, Joey DeGangi. Today, we are extremely excited because we are joined not only by an amazing powerhouse in the free-from world, but our fantastic ambassador, Julianne Ponan, who is the CEO of Creative Nature. Julianne has an amazing entrepreneurial story, which we're going to be hearing a lot more about as well. She is known for turning around a very struggling business into one of the most household renowned names in the UK, with bigger plans to come, ... Without further ado, let's welcome on Julianne. Hi, welcome, and thanks for joining us.
I'm so excited to be here, and it's so refreshing to be part of this podcast because lots of exciting things coming up.
Julianne, just to start off with then, when you're not at work, who are you? Who's Julianne?
Work-life balance. I guess a lot of people say I work a lot of the time. So I am me at work, and I think you have to love what you do to work as many hours as like Joey, you and myself work.
Yeah, I love that.
It becomes part of you, and you just got to love it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't be able to keep going. If you had asked me before the business and at school, I was a really shy person. I was really meek, and I didn't talk on, like, I wouldn't even stand up and read a page that my teacher would ask me to read.
Really?
But now I'm very different to...
Yes, you're commanding international audiences. I mean, weren't you just speaking at the Women's Vegan Summit on the weekend in the US, all the way from the UK?
Oh my gosh, that summit was incredible. I'd never done a world stage on virtually. I'd never done something like that. So it was amazing to see the comments as well of people who really didn't understand allergies suddenly switched like it sort of switched something in their brain to oh my gosh, this is a wake-up call.
Really?
We need to make a change.
That's pretty powerful. As we've been speaking with a lot of people recently, and there's a definite attitudinal shift between veganism and allergies, and there was an expert that we spoke with last week, and she says there's a lot that the allergy community can learn from vegans, only because they're so forthright and confident in their beliefs and advocating for themselves. In terms of Creative Nature, so tell us about Creative Nature. What is the brand? What's it all about? What's the birth of the business?
So yeah, I started the whole thing. I started Creative Nature really, and what it stands for today, because I suffer from anaphylaxis. So I'm allergic to sort of a lot of things. So peanuts, tree nuts, chickpeas, lentils, sesame, poppy seeds. I have a lot, and I have them quite severely. And that was quite difficult growing up, especially in school and as I went to uni and worked abroad. And what I found mostly was I couldn't find anything in the free-from sections that catered for what I needed, like a healthy snack bar, for example. 95% of the free-from range contained nuts. That's insane. Like, what? Why was that needed? So I decided, okay, right, let's create a top 14 allergen-free brand, not that just catered for me, but really catered for as many people as we possibly could. And yeah, I know there are going to be people who have allergies outside the top 14, but if we can cater for as many as possible, everyone can sit at the same table. So yeah, that's how it was born. I wanted fun products. I wanted kids to not miss out anymore. So we've got like the Norballs. They're less sugar than a Malteser. They're top 14 allergen free as well. And hopefully kids just love the packaging, love interacting with it. And at the end of the day, it's got to be masked as a sort of treat that's helpful for you.
I think that's great. We were very fortunate that we've been able to taste the delectable delights of Creative Nature, and what we've actually found, like you said, Julia, is so inclusive, where people that don't have allergies, we've introduced to Creative Nature, and the taste is superior to a lot of products that they would normally buy, which is fantastic. And just things like we've been able to do as a family, like baking. My husband, I mean, for somebody who doesn't step foot in the kitchen, this is a wonderful way to actually get the different generations involved in creating in the kitchen.
I absolutely loved it when your husband was baking away.
First time ever, and I made sure I captured that. So
you'll have to get that more often now. You can say it's easy to bake with all of our
definitely. So tell us the name behind Norbles. How did you come up with the name?
Norbles, it was actually on a really long car journey with Matt a long time, quite a while ago now, and I actually wanted to call it Munchins and Crunches. And it comes from, I don't know if you've ever seen The Black Cauldron. It's a Disney film. I'm obsessed with Disney, by the way. I'm an adult, but I'll never grow out of Disney. It's a little character in there called Gurgi, and he says Munchins and Crunchins all the time. Yeah. And then Matt was like, no, that's too long a name. And he was like, let's go for and he was like, oh, I like Gurgi's name. I know it sounds nothing like Norbles, but he's like, Nor, and we started playing off each other, and he was like, Norbles, it's got to be Norbles. And I was like, how are people going to know how to say it from the DNA? And it's hilarious. Some of the American people, sorry Joe, but some of the people, they say nowables or
I'm sure
or gnorbles, but it is fantastic because it's a really good way of teaching children as well about the silent G, because like gnome has the silent G, and gnocchi and different things like that, and so it's about teaching them the G in Norbles is silent. And then we came up with Norbert and Norma to go along that as well.
They're fantastic characters, and I know that we won't reveal too much, but they're going to be exciting to watch over the next few months. So they're a great introduction to the brand. So you've got the baking mixes, you've got the treats, but you're also, Creative Nature is very well known for the superfoods aspect, which is just as important. I think from a free from point of view, it's always good to ensure you've got your treats, but nutritionally, we have to be really aware of our diets. And so I think that's very interesting, the whole range you have around superfoods.
I think that superfoods are important, especially, so for example, like you said, with free from, people want to a lot of the time bake from scratch or make their own recipes, and to be able to do that, we need to provide them with nutritional products like cacao powder, and cacao powder is great because it's got the theobromine in. It's the thing that basically that is the thing that makes you happy in chocolate. So that's the bit that's actually good for you. I think that's really important. Superfoods as a whole, it is a more healthier route. And we get tons of people asking us, what do we do with them? And that's why we have so many recipes on our website, and hopefully on the Teal website very soon too.
Amazing. You're known as a role model to so many different groups of people within the allergy community, within the entrepreneur side as well. And you have a very public platform. What do you use that platform for, Julianne?
Social media, so that's one part of the platform, and then it branches out so much further. But when I first started, I have to admit, I didn't want to sort of advertise I had allergies, and I didn't want to talk about it because I was, I guess, scared in a way. I didn't know how people would receive it. I was just nervous. However, I started my brand because of it, and I wanted to express that. But not only did I want to do that, I really want to raise awareness for allergies. I find so many people are miseducated on allergies themselves, and there is a difference between anaphylaxis and intolerance, and it really is a minefield for parents who have children who suffer from allergies. Like Karen, you'll know firsthand how difficult was it when when Ava was first diagnosed.
Absolutely.
Where do you go? Talk to?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make it more comfortable for
Yeah.
people like you and other allergy sufferers who can't speak up about their allergy. Maybe they're just looking around, looking for people like Joey as well and myself who can talk about it and not be scared. So I decided, let's change, let's put myself out there, let's do more campaigning. So I've done things with Natasha's Law, the Allergy Show, spoken on like Sky News about the change that's coming up in October 2021. And I'm constantly pushing, because at the end of the day, if we can make small changes one step at a time, there's going to be a big change in the next few years.
So Julianne, was there a specific moment or experience that really, like, when you started turning the corner and being more passionate about like speaking about your allergy and sharing more about that part of your life?
I think my team really sort of, I don't know, made me wake up to the fact that they were inspired by me talking about allergies. And that was so important, because if they could understand it as a non-allergy sufferer, that really made an impact for me. And then it was literally, I decided one day after they gave me the confidence, and Matt did as well, to post image as well of have like a mild allergy. And the response I got on it was phenomenal. It was thank you for sharing this, thank you for understanding that life isn't all flowers and roses all the time for us, and thank you for showing us Instagram. There's a lot behind like the face of Instagram, because everyone puts their best self forward on Instagram. And I'm a culprit for it as well. I always show the amazing things, the awards and the fun nights and all of that. But a post like that, it's sort of showing your vulnerability. And when you do that, that's when you really understand, are there people listening, and do they want to hear this message, and will this help them? And I found that it did, and that really did change. Like I did a lot of stuff before that, but that was the sort of moment when I was like, no, I'm really helping people now. People are writing into the office like handwritten letters from children. You just can't, it's like, wow, now that's a purpose. Now we're changing people's lives. Like parents literally writing emails going, you've made my kid's birthday party, like you've made my kid be able to have a birthday party because I can have cake. Which to me, it's so huge.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. I don't think you actually realize, and maybe you do to an extent, but for me, coming as an allergy parent, the impact that you have, the things that people take for granted, that you have just created so many opportunities through all the work you've done with Creative Nature, making events and socializing accessible, so that our families don't have to miss out. I mean, it's amazing, it's phenomenal, and we're blessed and humbled, and we so excited the fact that you're working with us, and really using that voice for good. It's amazing.
Well, I'm so excited as well. Like what the Teal app stands for is exactly what we need. We need people to take allergies more seriously, but on the other side, we also need to help allergy sufferers. And it's exactly, the Teal app has everything in one. It has the whole inclusiveness of a community, but also you can bring people in who don't suffer from allergies, that just want to research about their friends or their family. Like, for example, if you had a nephew that suffered from an allergy, but you're going to go around and see them, having like resources like the Teal app enables you to understand more what that allergy sufferer is going through.
Well, Joey, I mean, what do you have to say now?
I mean, that's thank you. That's such a, I mean, it really is. It's got to be there for you, that emergency when you really need it. But at the same time, all of the other days of the year, whether it's sharing information with someone that is outside the community that wants to kind of get a peek in the window and see what's going on, or if you're trying to connect with other people and be able to hear stories like that's a big part of why we started this podcast, for example, to share stories like the one you just shared, that for someone else that has allergies and maybe hasn't heard that before. I mean, that means the world. So being able to just connect people with those types of resources, that's the whole mission behind it.
Speaking of the community side then, Julianne, obviously that's a big part of who you are bringing this whole community together on an international level. Tell us about some of the insights that you've gained into people that you speak with and interact with you on social media, for example.
It's been fantastic to sort of see the response that we've had, even for example when Creative Nature is not stocked in a country, but they're responding to a post that I've said about traveling, for example.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that long ago, I did a tip of when we were out in Orlando, and what were the best restaurants to go to, which restaurants I found was good, which ones I found was a bit harder to eat at, but that really helped people over there who were making decisions on where they were going to go and planning their day, because they already knew, as an allergy sufferer, these are my allergies. They knew already they could go to a restaurant that they could bring their own food, because I told them they could do that. And they came back, literally. It's amazing to see like the impact, because they go to the place, they actually ate at the restaurant, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, I would have never tried it. It's like, that's the sort of thing I want to give them, the confidence. And I'll only recommend something or someone that I know I'm sort of 100% sure with, because at the end of the day, no, I'm not doing it just to get paid to do something, because I didn't get paid by that restaurant at all. It's about recommending and raising awareness for those people, because if we can help them, that's what I would have wanted when I was traveling or when I was younger. So the community is fantastic, and we use the community quite well to gauge sort of data from them as well, and what do they want, what are they struggling with. We constantly get asked to do an advent calendar, for example. This year, inundated with people like, oh, why don't Creative Nature do an advent calendar? Like, it will be coming. I was like, 1 year you'll see an advent calendar. But we needed to get that insight, and that's so important to me and my team, that we genuinely get people involved in the community, not just in the UK but outside, to be able to understand their needs.
Definitely. That social listening you can't take for granted at all. And I think you've used it very well to gain and improve your social capital. You're extremely well known. I think it was somebody that recently said to you that you're free from royalty. So that's a great title to have.
That is fantastic.
Very shocked at that, but yes, I mean, honestly, things like that, I'm really glad when I'm making an impact, because at the end of the day, we live, and it feels so much better to make an impact and have a purpose.
So, Julianne, obviously you've been in the news quite a lot, and one of the topics that springs to mind that's got quite a lot of people talking is around hospital foods and how that is suitable or not suitable for allergy sufferers. Now, tell us a bit more about that.
First of all, I think that a hospital should be 100% stocking food that can sort of allergy sufferers can actually eat. What happens when you suffer from an anaphylactic shock? You're rushed to hospital in an ambulance. You get to the hospital and you have to be monitored overnight, and you haven't eaten, and you're not able to eat any of the food in the hospital. And then they have the audacity to say you should have brought your own food. I honestly can't get my head around it. I can't. Obviously you're in hospital because you've had the allergy. Obviously there are other reasons why you go to hospital, but if you have an allergy and you're ending up there, they are the people that are going to look after you and make sure you're well. They have the capacity to stock top 14 allergen-free products, or even and cater for everyone. I'm hoping legislation will change and that allergies will become part of when they tender out for hospital food. This will be one of the criteria that's needed to be met.
What you've just touched on there is what every allergy family and individual experiences in hospital. That echoes our experience every single time. And we've been okay when we've had pre-planned hospital stays, but it's those moments when it's unexpected and it's emergency and the admissions that are required, and then there is no catering whatsoever. I mean, even to the extent where we haven't even had dairy-free milk.
Yeah, I mean that just, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, like in the situation you described, where you talk about, you know, having come there because of the allergic reaction in the first place. Certainly, you can't be expected to bring your own food because whatever you had on hand was not suitable. So I mean, you can't be expected to bring that with you or anything like that. So I just don't understand the the rationale behind it. So he said, yeah, hopefully there's some much needed change on that front soon.
Julianne, obviously that is a major topic. There's so much that needs to be done, and some hopefully, like you said, legislation will change. But it's going to lead a lot of lobbying and a lot of people coming together to make enough noise to bring that about. I think this year's been very uncharacteristic for everybody. There's been two things to deal with: COVID plus Brexit's been looming as well. As an entrepreneur, what's your experience been like, and your insights, and do you have any advice to just offer anybody a lifeline out there as to how to navigate it all?
I guess every business is different. Larger businesses will have had the resource to plan out different scenarios of what routes they're taking, and whether they're going to set up a European office, etc. Now, small businesses, on the other hand, don't have that luxury. So as a small business, you fight fires every single day and you react to things that are in your control. And that's the only thing that you can do. At the end of the day, you can't worry about things that are outside your control. And I constantly keep telling this to people because they always go, oh, but what if this happens and what if that happens? So from the 1st of January, there doesn't seem to be a grace period for businesses to be able to adapt their labels. And I think that's quite difficult because, for example, my business, we buy 3 months in advance the packaging. So we will have that already, and we're going to have to hand label every single product that goes into the EU, which is a nightmare. I'm kind of glad that we actually sell a lot outside the EU and in the UK, because if it was a lot more to the EU, this would be an absolute nightmare. So I do feel for businesses out there that have this issue. However, there is the positivity that we do know what to do at the moment. There is that element still of uncertainty on the tariffs. And I think, again, every business in the UK is quite worried about that because we really don't know what that's going to be. And that could push up pricing a lot, which in turn we would have to put then give to our customers. And eventually the consumer price would go up, which is what we don't want to do. But of course, if that is the case, we would have to do, but we would try and absorb as much as we can in a way that's sustainable for the business as well.
Now, with respect to the tariff that you said is, or the like the legislature that they're considering, what is the hope of, like, what's the possibility in terms of the outcome there that you said the small businesses are hoping for?
Well, we're all hoping for a deal. So in terms of the trade, so that we can hopefully, in a way, not have a European address that we have to have. That would be fantastic. But we just want, but even if we do have to have that label, that's fine. But it would be great to have a free trade agreement where there is no tariffs on the product, that and duty, etc. But it's just so up in the air at the moment in terms of what's happening. I don't think anyone has a exact answer to what's best, and that's what's scary. So I do advise take other, like, make sure you're covered in other areas. So diversification, I think, is key. Make sure you're selling outside the EU as well, and you've put everything into place that you need come the 1st of January, because I've heard, I don't know if this is official, but you can get fined up to £1,250 plus £250 per day at the port if it gets stopped.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's serious. So you could lose your profit very, very quickly.
Wow. I think you touched on something very important for all entrepreneurs, which is to, kind of plan for, like leaving your options open, especially during uncertain, chaotic times. I think that's really, the past year, no matter where you are, you've seen that to some extent with COVID, which I think brings up, another really just interesting question that we've had a number of different entrepreneurs on with us before. And one of the things that Karen and I are always really interested in learning is, what are some of the pivots that you and your team have made that helped you kind of, like, how did you go about navigating all of the uncertainty that we got hit with in 2020?
I know a lot of people said they struggled working from home, for example, and being on their own. But I think it's just the way you look at things as well. So it's about finding that one positive in all the negative. And we do that quite well as a team as well. We did things like, so for example, when the pandemic hit, I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? How are we going to set everyone up from home? Is everyone going to work from home? What's it going to be like? And it was like, okay, let's just take things one step at a time. Exactly how you do with an allergy. When you're diagnosed, everything goes like mayhem. Like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm allergic to this. What can I do? But it's about sort of breaking it all down into stages. Okay, I found out this. It was a pandemic. Okay, what do I have to do to get through just to the next day, just to the next week? What are the steps? The steps were, right, okay, I need everyone at home to have a desk. I need everyone at home to have a computer, or you take the computer that you've got here home. Yeah. I need working at home policies, because you've got to make sure as a business you're covered under insurance, all of that. So all of those things, I was thinking, right, these are the stages. Then we got set up at home. Teething problems, of course, for the first week. People couldn't get on Zoom, people couldn't get on Teams, things weren't working. One of them didn't even have internet connection. It was a nightmare, but we worked through it with them, and it was about understanding what problems they were having and how can we help them to fix it. Relating that back to an allergy, how do you help your child, or how do you help the allergy sufferer? It's not about, oh, this is a problem and that's it. It's about what's the solution to that problem. So then we were working from home. Then one of our members of staff, actually, she was like, she was an office person. She loved being involved in everything. And she found working from home in the first lockdown quite tough. Because we've obviously had 2 lockdowns now.
That's true.
But yeah, in the first lockdown, she found it quite tough. And I decided to put on things like Zoom workout. So I was doing a Zumba workout with them every week. Oh, wow. I got people in on the Zoom to do it. We did combat classes. We did so much. We did team quizzes every Friday. And all of these things played into the team culture. And then, even though we weren't together, we actually became closer as a team. And I think that's so important. Even when you're building a community, whatever you're building, it's about all understanding each other and contributing, sort of helping each other through, because at the end of the day, we're all going through and we're all having bad days and we will have good days, but it's about supporting each other through that. So the pandemic's not been easy. Snacking, for example, we launched Norballs the week before lockdown. What a launch. I mean, I was in John Lewis, literally we had balloon arches ordered, all of this, a magician we had ordered, tricks with the Norballs, all of this all had to be cancelled. So it's literally me and Ellie standing in John Lewis, not being allowed to sample to people our product. So we had to be this is what it is. But we
you can look, but you can't touch.
exactly
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
But the feedback that we had, even from that event on that launch, was phenomenal. Like, people were like, wow, they understood, like, we were bringing a product to market that really was catering for everyone. Even though it wasn't the launch I wanted at all, it was fantastic to see. It blew up over Instagram. There was so many people. It was flooded with people saying, I love Norballs, this is the best. Things like that really, it built things up for me, and it got me through to the next stage. So that was fantastic. It was, and Norballs has grown since and launched into Asda since then, the share bag. So that was fantastic.
Yes. The one complaint I suppose people would have, if it was a complaint, is that even the share bags end at some point.
They're not big enough.
They're not for sharing. Yes.
That's what we get a lot. They're like, oh, can you make the sharing bag bigger?
That's awesome feedback. That's great. That's great.
It really is. But it proves, even through a pandemic, you can still do things, and you can still try. And yes, snacking did drop off the cliff. Like I said, it was scary. Like, luckily we had a diverse brand. Baking mixes were fantastic.
Right.
Yes.
Little mix baked with our baking mixes.
Yes, we saw that. That's amazing. Yes. And the fact as well that you had your banana bread mix. I mean, 2020 has been the year of the banana bread, hasn't it?
You didn't go through a pandemic if you didn't bake banana bread.
I don't know what it was like in the US for you, Joey.
I did not get around to banana bread yet. I'll have to.
That means you didn't go through the pandemic. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah. All right, I gotta do it soon then. I need to. I need to get through it.
You went through an election, but you didn't.
We did that. We had that.
No banana bread in the election then.
No, that's what was missing.
What is 2021 looking like for you?
So export is a big part of 2021. I really want to be taking Creative Nature global. I know it sounds ambitious, but you've got to dream big. And I have every faith in my team that we can get there. We've just brought on some new members of staff, which are fantastic. So yeah, growing the team and also growing export, becoming more of that. Like, I know you say we're a household free from brand name, but I want to be even more of the household free from brand name in sort of every supermarket. That would be perfect for me.
Yes.
I've got some amazing partnerships coming up as well. Like, Teal obviously has been incredible. I'm so glad to have launched this year with you guys, and I can just see things going big. So
definitely, we're so excited. Yes.
So that's coming up. Then I've got a few other partnerships which I can't say much about at the moment, but they are coming up, and hopefully we'll have something for one of the seasonal festivities coming up as well. So people will hopefully be watching out for that. And no, we're not going to give anything away yet.
Oh yes.
No, of course not yet.
Watch this space.
Yeah, lots of exciting things. And then we've got some garden centres launching in January with a load of our products, which I'm super pleased about, as I was never really able to go to garden centres when I was young because of the seeds and nuts and things that were about. But even when I did go to some, there was never anything to eat, and you were saying the same, that there's like nothing for kids.
Absolutely. It's our experience has always been that it's so limited that I've always had to make sure, and I think that's part of being an allergy mum. You have a big rucksack and there's always food. You do not leave the house without making sure you've pre-packed food. So it would be lovely to be able to go somewhere like that and know that certain things are taken care of. And it's also great for it. As families, we love going to garden centres here in the UK. It's a day out on its own. So it's great for all of the family. If there are products like Creative Natures that we can pick up and take home with us. It's a no-brainer. There's something that we like to ask all of our guests it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but it follows on with the whole memes that you see on the internet. So, you're an allergy reactor, an allergy sufferer. You've grown up with allergies. If
I don't know what to say. What have other people said?
Well,
we've gotten everything from eagle eye,
yes,
checking the
we've got
ingredients, to
with
big backpack full of snacks.
Okay, if you have been told, oh, a little bit won't hurt you.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a very interesting misconception, but very common, isn't it?
100%. That's
yeah,
absolutely.
Is there anything that we haven't covered, Julianne, that's still weighing upon you that you think, this is my time, I'd love to mention this?
I really want to get out there that allergies don't have to define you. Yes, they're part of your journey, and yes, they're part of your life. But at the end of the day, we can all do what a non-allergy sufferer or can do. Like Joey's traveled the world. I've traveled to so many places. Like Forbes 30 under 30. I never thought I'd be on that list.
Absolutely.
But it just proves it doesn't need to limit you in any way possible. You just need to be educated and controlled and understand your allergies and your limits in terms of that. But it doesn't need to limit you in where you're going or what you achieve. And that's why I really want to get out to sort of allergy mums as well, because they always worry that their child's going to miss out, or they always ask me, oh, how did you do that? Like, you can't do that. Like, I could never imagine letting my child go abroad. And I was like, if you don't let them, then they're missing out. That's the thing I want to get across.
That's incredibly empowering. If you hadn't gone through the experiences and the challenges and adversities that you had, all these opportunities and experiences that your life has been in abundance of wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been on Dragon's Den.
Well, not many people can say that. So very quickly then, what was that like facing the dragons?
Oh my gosh, wow, that was an interesting experience. It was hard. It was really hard. I would say you need to be really prepared for every single question they're going to throw at you. But it was such an incredible experience at the same time. Like, I opened up to things that I was outside my comfort zone. And they always say that when you're outside your comfort zone, that's when the magic happens. And it is sort of true in a way. And the PR off the back of it, the response that we got was phenomenal. I wouldn't want to go through it again. Don't get me wrong. Not something I would do. But I would say it's an experience that I don't regret.
And like it or not, and I think you've absolutely embraced it. You are such a role model to so many people. And allergies or no allergies, I think you've really embodied the ability to just harness who you are, your skills, your potential, and every opportunity, and own it. And just, we get one chance at this, and you really are an example of somebody that says, do you know what, I'm gonna do this my way. You're an amazing trailblazer. I mean, as you can see, we're gushing. We just love Julianne.
Thank you. I'm always well. I absolutely love working with both of you. I think that you're both absolutely incredible and in your own rights as well. So I can't wait for the future. I really can't.
So where can, obviously a lot of people do know, but for those of our listeners that don't, where can we find you online?
So online, you can get us at creativenaturesuperfoods.com, and then you can get us in sort of the major supermarkets, Asda, Sainsbury's, Tesco, Ocado as well.
Wow. We look forward to seeing the growth of this amazing brand and it being internationally renowned. too. But thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.